Ever downloaded a file and hesitated before opening it? Ever clicked on a suspicious link that caused concern? Or maybe you just work in IT or cybersecurity and you need a really quick throwaway environment to check something out without spinning up a full VM or risking your main machine. We've all been there, needing a really quick, safe space for potentially risky actions. Hey, I'm Joshua Clarke, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. On this channel, we cover everything from cybersecurity to ethical hacking. What if I told you that many Windows users already have a powerful built-in tool designed exactly for this? And that tool is called Windows Sandbox. Many of you may already know Windows Sandbox. It's a fantastic tool for those quick checks. But even if you're familiar with it, I encourage you to stick around, because later in the video we'll be unlocking some powerful customization options using configuration files that let you tailor the sandbox for specific tasks, making it more efficient for analysis or testing. You won't want to miss that. For anyone new to it, what is Windows Sandbox? Think of it as a completely separate, temporary desktop that lives inside your current PC. It's a disposable, virtual computer that appears when needed and vanishes without a trace when you close it. Why is it so incredibly useful, especially for security? Well, it's pristine, so every time you launch it, you get a clean Windows slate, no remnants of your previous tests. It's disposable, which is key for safety and analysis. When you run your tests, check your links, or check your files, and then you close the window, everything inside is permanently wiped. No malware persistence, no cleanup needed. It's secure. It uses hardware virtualization for strong isolation from your main system. So when you do something dodgy in the virtual machine, it does not affect your main PC. It's efficient. Forget waiting for a full VM to boot. Sandbox is lightweight and starts in seconds, perfect for those quick, on-the-fly checks. Now for the big question. Do you have it? Windows Sandbox comes included in both Windows 10 and Windows 11, but only in the Pro, Enterprise, or Education editions. So sorry home users, this one isn't for you. There are ways for you to upgrade from the Home Edition, which will unlock things like Windows Sandbox and RDP, but we're not going to cover those methods in this video. So on your machine, how do you check which edition of Windows you have installed? Well, that's easy. Press Windows R, and that's going to bring up the Run dialog. In here, type WinVer, W-I-N-V-E-R. Open that, and it's going to tell you about your Windows installation. And here you can see that I'm running Windows 11 Pro. So I'm good to go. Now you know you have the right version of Windows running, we just need to check that you have virtualization enabled. This is easy in Task Manager. Press Ctrl, Shift, and Escape to open the Task Manager. Now that you have Task Manager open, go to the Performance tab and you'll see the details of your CPU. And here it shows virtualization enabled. Don't worry if it's not enabled, you just need to go and search for your PC model in Google, asking how to turn on virtualization. The reason I tell you to do that is it varies for every manufacturer. It's normally a simple change in the BIOS, but you will need to find out the right change for your machine. Assuming that you have the right version of Windows and virtualization is turned on, we just need to flip the switch, which is normally disabled by default. So go ahead and press Windows R to bring up the Run dialog. And in here, type in Optional Features. When you open Optional Features, you'll see a huge list of features that can be enabled in Windows. And if we scroll down, you'll see Windows Sandbox. I already have this enabled, but you just need to check that box and restart your computer. Once you've restarted your computer, congratulations, you have Windows Sandbox, which will just show up as any other app. So click on your start bar, type in Windows Sandbox, and there you'll have it. I highly recommend pinning this to your start bar if it's something that you're going to use regularly. If we open this up, so there we have it. In a matter of seconds, you've clicked on Windows Sandbox and you now have a full version of Windows in a sandboxed environment for you to test dodgy files, websites, whatever you like. And you have clipboard enabled, so we can take a file from the host machine here, we can Control C, and then Control V into our sandbox, and the file's available for you to test, open, run. The Edge browser is also available by default, so you can open that up and visit any links that you want to check inside of the sandboxed environment. And if you take a note of this file that we've copied across, and we just hit the X up here, you're going to get a warning that tells you everything will be gone. And that's what we expect from this sandboxed environment. If I now open the sandbox again, you will notice that everything is gone and we've got a brand new clean copy of the sandbox environment. There we go, the file's gone and we're ready to go again with a different test on a completely clean slate. Okay, so using the default sandbox is great, right? You can run all of your tests there. But do you remember at the start of the video I mentioned some more advanced configuration options that we were going to cover? This is where Windows Sandbox configuration files come in. These are plain text files that end with an extension of .wsb, which stands for Windows Sandbox. These are simple text files you can create with things like Notepad that let you launch the sandbox with specific configurations. Instead of just clicking on the sandbox icon, you double-click on your created .wsb file and the sandbox will launch with your specified settings. They use a simple XML format. But don't worry if that sounds a bit scary to you or you're not familiar with XML. It's pretty straightforward and basic stuff. But the real power of what you can control here is things like disabling networking. This is a huge boost if you're testing a file and you don't want it to talk out of your sandboxed environment to your home network, for example. You can share folders. So you can map a file on your main PC to the sandbox, which is super handy for getting your files easily. But be careful, by default this is going to allow writing both ways. But I'm going to show you a small flag that will allow you to have that read-only. So the sandbox can read a certain file from your host machine, but it can't write files back. And then you can also do things like run scripts on startup. So you could have a PowerShell script that installs a load of tools that you want on the sandbox, and that's going to run as soon as you launch the sandbox. And there's also other tweaks, like you can enable the webcam or the microphone to be passed through to the sandbox. You could also limit how much memory the sandbox has. So let's get in and play around with some WSB files so you can see how powerful they are. So as I've already said, the Windows Sandbox configuration files are just a basic plain text file. So let's go ahead and create one. If we just give this a name, Sandbox, no networking, for example, and we change the extension to WSB and click enter, you're going to see that this is a Windows Sandbox file. I'm not going to click on this because I haven't put a configuration in yet, but let's open this in our text editor of choice. I'm going to use Sublime. And in here, we can add in a configuration. So here's one that I had earlier. You can see that it opens with configuration, and then we're going to set the networking to disable. And if I save that, we can go ahead and open this file, and we're going to get a copy of the sandbox with the networking disabled. Let's check that. So once it loads, we'll try and go into Edge and see what happens. Let's just go to Google, and we have no internet. Let's just check this in command prompt as well. So we'll open CMD and we'll just do ipconfig and see what comes up. You can see that we haven't actually got any network cards configured at all. So the networking is completely disabled for this sandbox. So we can drag in a file, run the file without worrying about any network communications coming from the sandbox, which is awesome. Okay, so we've looked at disabling networking on the Windows Sandbox, but let's have a look at mapped folders. So here's a file I created earlier called mappedfolders.wsb, and in here you can see the configuration. It's pretty simple. Here you have mapped folders, and you can have as many under here as you like. Here we have mapped folder, and this has two flags. We're specifying the host folder, which is the path on the host that we want to share with the sandbox. And on the sandbox folder is where that mapped folder is going to be displayed. So in this case, we've just chosen desktop. So what this means is when we run this configuration, any files in this folder should be visible in this folder. So let's go and put something in that share folder. And in here, I'm going to create a new text file, and we're going to call it hi from the host. That file is created. So let's go back to our Sandbox file and launch it. And when this launches, we should see that hi from the host file on the desktop. Let's give that a second. And there it is, hi from the host. So you can use this to share folders and files back and forth between the Sandbox and the host. And because this isn't read-only, I can create a file here, and let's call that hi from the Sandbox. Hi from the Sandbox. Okay, and if we go back into our share, we should see the file hi from the Sandbox. Okay, so we probably don't always want there to be bilateral communication, so let's turn that off. And to do that, we need to do read only, and we need to turn that to true. Let's save that. And if we close our copy of the Sandbox here, and then we go to our file, open up the Sandbox again, and this should now be in read-only mode. So once that loads, we should still see our files here. But if we go to create a file in this mapped folder, it shouldn't work. There you go, we don't have permission, and that's the read-only flag. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is logon commands. This is really powerful because we can run commands on the startup of the Sandbox. And you can imagine all the things we could do with this. We could run scripts, we could have it download programs, launch things, ready for us when we first click on the Sandbox. So I've created a new file here called logon command, which is just a copy of our mapped folders. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write logon command. And let's close that. And in here, we're going to put command. And let's just launch, for example, Notepad. So what this will do is when we launch this logon command Windows Sandbox configuration file, we should see Notepad launch at the same time as the Sandbox launches. So let's give that a go. And if it's worked correctly, we'll see Notepad. And then we can go into something a little bit more advanced, which would be running a PowerShell script. There you go. So we've successfully run a logon command. You can use this to do all sorts, like pre-installing programs, so they're all ready to go when you first open the Sandbox. Okay, so let's leverage what we've learned so far to create a PowerShell logon script. What I've done here is I've made a copy of the logon command configuration and called it PowerShell command. We're going to leverage our existing mapped folder to put a PowerShell script in there, which will be launched on logon. So let's go to our share folder and let's create a PowerShell script. So I'm just going to create a new text file there. I'm going to call it logon, and I'm going to change the extension to PS1. And that's going to create us a PowerShell script. Let's pull that into Sublime. And what I'm going to do here is, just for testing, I'm going to go to the winget documentation and grab the command for installing winget on Windows Sandbox. Winget is an awesome package manager for Windows that lets you install Windows programs through the command line. So in theory, that should install winget. And then let's do winget install, and let's just choose something like Notepad++. Okay, so this should install winget, install Notepad++, as we're launching the Sandbox. So here we just need to point our command to PowerShell and then the location of that file. So here we've got PowerShell. We're setting an execution policy of unrestricted, which makes sure the command can run on the host. And then we're going to start PowerShell with this file. And this is on the desktop of our machine, because we have this mapped folder in place. So the logon file should appear on the desktop, and then this logon command should run our logon script, which we have installing winget and then installing Notepad++. So let's save both those files and give it a go. Okay, so before starting that, I have just made a quick tweak to the logon script. I've added in these accept package agreement flags because it's the first time winget's going to be run. The MS store is going to ask us to accept an agreement, and Notepad++ might ask us as well. So we want that to automatically install. And then I've also added in this command at the end so that we can see Notepad++ pop up once it's installed. So let's have a look at that. I'm going to launch our PowerShell command configuration file. And if this has worked correctly, we should see Notepad++ install after winget and then pop open. Making all of these configurations are going to add a little bit of time to your startup of the sandbox. But if you want these pre-configured things to already be there, it's totally worth it and it doesn't take too long. So let's watch to see what happens here. We can see that PowerShell is installing winget from the PS gallery. We'll just give that a moment to finish. And once that's finished, we should see it start to install Notepad++. All of this should just take a minute or two, and then you'll be ready to go. Done. Notepad++. Starting to install now. And that's finished. So we should see it pop open. There we go. We got Notepad++. So you can imagine all of the things that you can get in that logon script. It doesn't have to be installing programs. It could be anything you want to customize the sandbox when you first open it. And you can have as many different customization files as you want for different purposes. You could even have a customization file that launches Edge and has it on a specific website that you use, I don't know, to investigate URLs. So I'm going to put this link in the description, and this page explains everything that can be configured in the configuration files for your Windows sandbox. There's a few things in here that we've already discussed and a few things that we haven't, such as the audio and video input. This allows you to redirect your audio and video from your host to the sandbox. Protected client, this adds an additional layer of security. Printer redirection, which allows you to do printing from your sandbox, whatever you'd use that for. And you can also disable the clipboard. So I'll leave this link in the description for you to explore further and play around with your configuration files. So with or without customization, when would you use this day to day? Testing untrusted downloads, that random free utility you found online that you don't quite trust, run it in the sandbox first. Safe web browsing, need to visit a site that you don't fully trust, open it in the sandbox browser. Opening risky attachments, got a weird attachment from somewhere you don't fully trust, open it in the sandbox without fear. Trying out new software and you want to see if it's any good before cluttering up your main system, fire up the sandbox, run it in there first. So there you have it, Windows Sandbox, your PC's built-in, disposable, secret security weapon, now with customizable superpowers thanks to WSB files. It's really incredibly useful for quickly and safely testing things without risking your main system. If you have Windows Pro, Enterprise, or Education, definitely check if you can enable it today. What do you think? Did you know about WSB files? Let me know in the comments below if you're going to try customizing the sandbox or what you might use it for. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and consider subscribing if you enjoy my content and you want to see more. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.